Hey y'all,
Hey,
welcome to the vlog.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
I'm gonna try to hold this camera for as long as I can. We are not in our usual kitchen situation because we kind of just wanted to like just talk in this video. Not that that's not what we do in all of our videos. I don't know, we just want to give y'all a little update. We've said we were gonna keep y'all updated on things and keep you in the loop, which we know we don't have to, but we feel like we just want to share stuff because that's our life and that's what we've been doing for the past 9 years.
No, it's crazy.
Sharing our life.
Whew.
It's been a little bit of a
crazy
week. Again, like we've said before, I'm like, we're not complaining. Like life is what it is and we are giving facts and details and all the stuff. It is stressful. I said before how it drives me crazy how when somebody says something is stressful, somebody else is like, well, you don't even know because I have a blah, blah, blah. That's fine. And I feel even bad saying this has been a hard and stressful week because the stress that it has not been like awful, terrible stress or anything. It is what it is. Like if something is emotionally draining or stressful, that's what it is for you, so.
Yeah. Well, I think we were just talking about like right before we started this. It's just like the lack of routine in our lives.
Or stability, I guess.
Of what we've been doing and what we've got going on has been just one of the first things that anybody says about trying to sell your house, first of all, is just like it's probably one of the most stressful things. But on top of that, with the budget, we've kind of already mentioned all that. Changing
all of our like behavior patterns as far as spending and budgeting. All that to say, well, we're gonna give you an update on what happened this week. I guess, I don't know. We kind of debated about sharing this, but I feel like that's our life always. We're like, should we share this? I don't know. Yeah, fine, let's share it. I don't know. I just don't know what's like okay to share and what's not. And then I just figure what's it gonna hurt?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Y'all have been so supportive and invested too that I feel like appropriate to give an update. So here's the deal. We had some people come see our house on Sunday, this past Sunday, which was kind of like a surprise showing. I think we had mentioned this previously. We were at church and we got a request and we were like, oh crap. And we came home and I was like, I don't even care. I'm not like super duper cleaning up. Like we picked up and everything, but there were still, you know, unorganized toys in the playroom and blah, blah, blah. We didn't like clean.
Well, and the thing that was kind of irritating, I guess, is the day before, I think, or the 2 days before, we had just like mentioned or talked about to our realtor about...
No, we hadn't talked to our realtor. We had said it just to ourselves.
Oh, had we?
We hadn't asked.
Okay.
No, I don't think
we talked about implementing the 24-hour policy, like a lot of y'all suggested as well, just so we could have some sort of like sanity and routine and no surprises here and there. And so we were like, okay, perfect. This is like, I know this is right after church. They're gonna come want to see us showing, but we're just gonna have to, but then we just said, no, we're just gonna let this one go. They can come see it, bust our butts to get whatever we need to get done.
So we hadn't actually implemented the 24-hour thing yet. And it was my birthday weekend last weekend. So we had just kind of given ourselves a pass to like, you know, whatever. There was crap all over the kitchen. We were just like, okay, after this one, we're gonna seriously be like 24-hour rule for real. We need 24 hours notice. They came through and they really liked it and actually requested to come back again that night.
The same day.
The same people.
Like 3 hours later.
And we were like, well, that's not
I guess to bring more family
or something. I don't know. Well, people, yeah, usually that would be the reason you'd come back. But so we were like, well, I mean, it's already cleaned up and whatever, sure, come on.
This is promising. When you get back-to-back requests from the same person, okay, come on back.
Yeah, this is fine. But then we still were in a position of like, whatever, we're not getting our hopes up because we get our hopes up and then that's the emotional like roller coaster. They came through and, you know, we were like, so have we heard anything? You know, asked our realtor and we're like, they came back twice in the same day. So like, have we heard anything? I was like, no, we hadn't heard anything back from them. They really like the house, but that's all we know. So then what was it?
That was on Monday.
That was
like checking in after Sunday. And then
Tuesday morning.
Brooks got sick at that point.
Monday, Brooks came home sick from school, had a fever. So he had to stay home the next day, which his sickness, it was not the flu like Gaines had. It only lasted about 48, not even 48 hours maybe. Brooks sick is different than Gaines sick. She just wanted to lay on the couch. Brooks like lays on the couch for a minute and then he's like up, ready to go. Tuesday morning, we got a text that they made an offer, which was exciting.
Yeah.
Because it's been
like an official
like written.
Have we even told them about the one prior to that?
I don't think we even talked about that.
It was kind of a verbal offer. There was one that was a verbal offer and it was really low. There were some stipulations involved.
It was basically, it was definitely lower than we could expect. And I think that's why they didn't write it up. It was kind of like a, hey, you know, we don't even want to waste their time. But they're interested, this is what we could offer. And it wasn't something we could accept. So this new one was actually like a written offer. Again, a lot lower than we could accept. We were like, well, you know, we'll counter back, which is what we did with the previous verbal one, and it was still just like, yeah, no, they can't go up and we couldn't go down.
Kind of fizzled out,
you know, but it just didn't work out.
Verbal.
But again, that's one of those situations where you do kind of get your hopes up, like, well, maybe, and so then you start looking into your finances and your numbers, and anyways, like, well, let's figure out what we could counter back with. And so we kind of added up our numbers, had to figure in, you know, closing costs and all that stuff, because as y'all know, we're like we're on the line, you know, breaking even. Like we've dropped our price a lot, and so we're getting close to, like, we can't go too much lower. So we countered back, and then they said they couldn't go that low, and they gave us the highest that they could go. So with the highest they could go covers our mortgage payoff. So we were like, okay, well, that's good news. I mean, you know, that's good.
Looking promising.
But then when you add in all the closing costs and all that, it didn't cover that amount. Obviously, y'all know our whole like debt payoff thing. We're not in a position to cover $20,000 in closing costs just like out of pocket. Ideally, the sale of the house would cover that. So we gave our number of like, this is the absolute lowest we can go in order to have the closing costs covered and all that stuff. And they couldn't do that high. You're kind of looking at a situation of like, why'd you even come look at it if you knew you weren't going to be able to even get close to what asking price was on a house?
That's kind of weird.
I think when people see, I do understand. I mean, we've done it before, looking at houses like, oh, this is out of our range, we'll look at it anyway. You see it on HGTV all the time.
I think like we did that when we were looking at this house. We were like, oh, well, we'll offer them $100,000 less.
Yeah.
And they'll
just
like
see what happens, you know?
Yeah, no.
But I mean, I understand their reasoning there, but they weren't even able. It's not like they didn't want to. I think they wouldn't have even been able to go any higher. That was kind of that. And we were like, well,
I know a lady that can get them a second mortgage if they need that.
That's a fabulous idea. Anybody interested in that?
Then I was like, no, that's a bad thing to do. Don't do that.
Don't do it to somebody else. Don't put somebody else in that situation. And that honestly is like one of my prayers right now, that our house, first of all, will sell for enough for us to be able to pay off our mortgage and cover closing costs and get out of here without owing anybody anything. Also, that the people who are buying it will be in a good financial place, and that nobody else will get into kind of the same situation we were in because they didn't thoroughly like research their options and stuff. And as much as it's just kind of like, I don't care, I just want to sell it. They may not have enough money, but whatever. I don't want that for anybody.
I was gonna say too, I think the thing that stood out with this last offer the most was the fact that in the past, in the previous two offers, you played the like game of like going back and forth, and like, you know, the profit game.
Well, here's the amount we'll counter back
right.
with. And
with this one, it came to that, down to the point where we were like, we're just gonna be straight up honest with these people, and
this is how much we owe on the house.
We don't know how much we can tell, and we even asked the realtor, I don't know, and he said, no, I think this is the straight and narrow, like no BS,
nonsense answer.
No nonsense answer. Y'all aren't kidding.
Like we're not trying to be difficult or play the game. Like, we just need to sell our house and not owe anybody anything. So
it helped open up our minds about like, okay, we don't need to worry about like all this back and forth crap. This is what we can do, and that's it.
So that's when they were like, you know, unfortunately we can't do that amount. Oh, and we were gonna be able to close and be out of here March 31st, which is in
like 3 weeks, 2 weeks?
2 weeks, a little bit over 2 weeks, which was a little bit of a panic too.
Oh, no.
Like, oh shoot, we got a lot of crap to do then. By the way, we're only to like Wednesday morning now. This from the time this is all going out. In the meantime, Brooks is still homesick, also trying to do this and work and get everything else done. I started thinking and I was like, okay, I've heard several Dave Ramsey calls where people talk about their like upside down in a car loan. So for example, maybe they owe $20,000 on a car, but they'd only be able to sell it for like 15. And Dave is like, you know, we definitely don't want you just sitting in a $20,000 thing on something that's going down in value. So he recommends to those people, and I've like searched and was looking for other times, and he's recommended it several times. Sell the vehicle for what you can, say $15,000, and then get a personal loan, which is crazy to hear Dave Ramsey say that, to pay off the remaining amount on the car. It's basically, although you're getting another loan, if you're not able to sell the car for enough, then you're exchanging $20,000 in debt for $5,000, if that makes sense. So basically, with
a possible lower interest rate, you know, on the 5,000 line,
right,
you know what I mean?
Right, like all that stuff, and you're owing less, so you can pay it off quicker. So I was like, is that an option on a house? Can you? Because we'd be able to cover, like I said, the mortgage would be paid off. It would just be the closing costs that we wouldn't be able to pay for. And so I was like, does that happen? Like, can you do that? Can you just get a personal loan just to cover the closing costs? I started looking into that.
And a whole nother rabbit hole.
A whole nother rabbit hole of like adding up numbers and like investigating and like, are there other things we could sell? You guys know we have a car that's paid for, but the amount that we would get for selling that car would not be still enough to cover this. Also, we would be left with only one car. We've talked about how that is not gonna work right now for our situation. Or we would have to buy another car, which would take money away. We do have the car that we have a loan on. If we were to sell that, we would only get $5,000 or $6,000, which obviously would be enough to buy another car, but that doesn't give us enough money to still pay these closing costs. Regardless, we don't have enough assets to sell to make that money.
We actually reached out to the team over at Ramsey Solutions, not Dave himself. I was like, maybe we should get on another call and ask him this.
He don't want to talk to us again this soon, but
they ended up going to their team, and because we were like, is this something that is feasible? Or
like, does this make sense, or is it just really dumb?
And they said they've never actually heard Dave answer that question about taking a personal loan out on a mortgage. Or on
it would be an unsecured loan. Basically, my understanding of it is whenever you get a loan, they have the loan secured by something that you own, that they could like take your house if it's a mortgage. If it's a car loan, they could repossess your car if you can't pay it. But if it's an unsecured loan, then there's nothing they can take from you if you can't pay it.
Right.
So,
the first thing they did ask was if we had it, can we sell anything to try to,
right,
you know, like any.
And so we were like, just we want somebody's other Dave Ramsey person opinion on this. So that, you know, they talked about it and were super duper helpful, and we love the people there that we've been talking to. The answer was kind of like, if you have things you could sell, or, you know, a way to cash out savings, or, you know, whatever else to get that money, then that would be recommended. But if not, I mean, it sounds like a way to get out of the situation without doing a short sale, or without, you know, whatever. You're trading almost $600,000 in a loan for a $20,000 loan. So it's worth considering. So we're like, okay, this is all still going on. So I'm just kind of like, okay, I need to process this. In the meantime, get a request for a showing.
Another showing.
I think we're at Wednesday now. Yeah, we're at Wednesday.
Yeah.
We didn't get a request. We knew we had a showing on Wednesday.
Yeah,
we already
because
knew.
we had the 24-hour rule in place.
Right. We're getting ready and getting prepared for the showing. Again, Brooks is still here. He's getting a little antsy. He hasn't had a fever this whole day, so he's like good, but couldn't go back to school because he had a fever the night before. So I was like, let's get him out some Play-Doh. He specifically requested this one Play-Doh toy that was down in the basement. So I went down to the basement to get it, and I was like, what is that noise? I hear water running. I followed the sound, and there was water dripping all down into the little small room that we have downstairs. Water dripping all down there and like all over the floor. And I was like,
I think we just stood there for like 10 minutes just watching this, like going, what the hell is
when I saw it, I literally ran, and I came up and was like, Brooks, where's Daddy? And he's like, Mommy, did you find my plate? I was like, hang on, where's Daddy?
Well, and see,
you were looking for
I was looking for something outside in the other garage up here, and I had gone down to get the Play-Doh stuff earlier, and I turned on the fish tank water just to have it running for a little while. And so when she came up and said, there's water dripping and running, I was like,
it was like, I just turned it on.
I just turned on the fish tank. There's no way it's overflowed already.
I said, no,
I got my timer set, and then she said in the other room, and I was like, what? And so I immediately went to like master bathroom renovation stuff.
Because it's right under the master bathroom that we just had done a year ago, and we're like,
what is going
shoot,
on?
Something went wrong from the master bathroom again?
We got a showing in 2 hours.
Yeah, we've got a showing in 2 hours. We were just trying to get stuff cleaned up while Brooks was playing with the stuff. We, like you said, just stood there, and I was like, well, I mean, the water's running all over the floor. We should probably do something about this. Let me just say, to start, luckily, this is it's the one room that's finished in the basement, and it has like drop ceiling tile. Luckily, it's not like a sheetrock ceiling. Drop ceiling tiles are easily like replaced or whatever. And also luckily, the floor in that room is tile. Also luckily, we had a rug, like a small rug, right in the area where this happened.
Oh my gosh.
So the water was like flowing down, had busted out the drop ceiling tile, which is not a big deal, you can replace those. It was soaking into the rug so that it wasn't getting to like the walls. Like it didn't get further than the tile, which is amazing. And it was actually like running towards the back of the room, but was maintaining itself in the middle of the room. It could have been so much worse. And had I not gone down there to get the Play-Doh, who knows how long this would have gone, and it actually would have like reached the walls and been a problem. Cullen climbed up in there and was like, how do I turn off the water to the house? Like I don't know how to make this stop.
It was like right at the main water valve coming into the house. What is going on? Because when I turned it off, it was still going. The washing machine
turned off like the main
you
water
had the
to
washing machine running, and I turned off the fish tank water, turned off like all the water, but it still was like just dripping slowly out of this one little valve. So I got up there, took a picture of the valve. It was the pressure regulator in the house. PRV, the pressure regulator valve. I always learn so much when it comes to this stuff. Looking it up, Googling it, and blah, blah, blah. In the meantime, she's calling the warranty company that we have with our realtor. So luckily we did have the emergency fund to pay towards the service fee of $100 for them to come out. But I was on the phone with them and they're like, we can't get up there till tomorrow from like 12 to 5. And
meanwhile, I'm running up and down getting towels. You're trying to figure.
I'm like, but our stuff is dripping. We're trying to sell our house.
Like it won't stop dripping. We don't know what to do.
I'm supposed to like just change out a 5-gallon bucket every 2 hours or something. Like, so she's put me on hold, and then literally like an hour later, somebody came.
Well,
but
in the meantime, we texted our realtor and we're like, hey, listen, this is what's going on. We can't, the showing, I don't know how this is gonna happen because for one, you know, we're picking up and Brooks is messing up as we're picking up. We were like, well, the service people are gonna come today. And they said between 12 and 5 and the showing was at 1:30. And I even said in the text, I said, no, in our luck, the service people would come right when the showing happens. I just don't know how to make it happen today.
At that point, the showing was written off.
The rug was all soaking wet. There were towels everywhere wiping up water. Like it wasn't good. You don't want somebody coming in and thinking there's some major problem, which luckily as we found out, it wasn't a major problem. It was a pressure regulator valve, which just in houses in general, over time, that thing goes bad. Nothing anybody could have done about it. It just goes bad.
I was like, well, glad we were home, first of all. What if we were working 9 to 5 at a job and we come home and our whole basement is flooded?
Or out of town.
And you know, we're trying to sell our house. Luckily, we had a son home that needed a Play-Doh toy, or else I
wouldn't have gone down there.
You wouldn't have heard the leak. And
luckily, we had the home warranty and all that.
Yeah, there's so many positives
there's
to look
definitely
out
a lot of positives
in this situation. But
it's still
in
like,
the moment,
good timing. This is
we're
great.
like, what the heck? And so I get a notification on the security cams that somebody's walking up to the door.
I'm upstairs putting Brooks to nap
because we'd written it off that we're not going to have to ride around in the car for a showing. So you said he's going to go down for nap. And the realtor and the plumbers walk up to the door at the exact same time.
Like exact same time.
So there was a miscommunication
they walk up together.
in the messaging. She was like, I didn't realize, I thought we could still walk through. I'm like, why would anybody want to walk through a house when so plumbers were like, is it a bad time? We're like, no, come in. I felt bad, but it was just like, what is going on?
I was like really this close to being like, whatever, y'all just come in. You can just see it as it is. But it was like an actual hot mess. that was quite the interesting day. But so the showing people left and they rescheduled. The plumbers were able to
fix it within an hour.
An hour, get it done. In the meantime though, we're still going, like I'm still processing in my head this whole like, so should we do this personal loan thing? And then at that point I was like, yeah, we are, because I'm done with doing all of this.
This was a sign. We were gonna do a personal loan because
I don't even care.
We don't need to.
I don't even care. Getting out of here.
If we can get out of here at
like I'm tired of doing showings. I'm tired of having people always come into my house.
$275 emergency fund. Thank God. Whoever buys the house has a brand new pressure regulator for the next 45 years or however long.
We luckily had extra drop ceiling tiles from when we did the master bathroom that were left over. They didn't need to use them. The next day is when Brooks went back to school. That was yesterday. That's when we started really looking into this whole personal loan thing. So we're like, let's just see what's gonna happen with this. Made a phone call to somebody that was recommended by a realtor, like a bank, and they were like, you know, you'd probably be better off looking into a credit union for that because rates are lower, easier approval, whatever. So called the credit union.
The whole time I was like, this is not a good idea.
And it was just a weird feeling.
I don't like this at all.
Yeah, it's just a weird, it was like, I just don't know. I feel like
2 years ago, I'd have been like, let's do this. Let's get like $50,000 approved if we can. And
let's just get some extra.
Yeah, but now that I'm in a different mindset, I'm like, this is bad.
Like, I don't want more. But at that point, you're also thinking in your head, you know, you're in
get out of this mortgage.
Kind of hopeless mode of like, well, it's either this or like, what if then we actually have to do some type of short sale, which is worse for your credit and for all this stuff. If we just talk to the credit union about it, until we like sign up for something, we don't have to do it. Like, let's just see if it's even an option.
We can back out.
You know, we can back out. The guy was like, well, let me just get your information over the phone and I'll like run it through, you know, the pre-approval process. And he said, because we haven't actually sold our house yet, they would have to consider the debt we have on the house within our debt to income ratio. They would also have to consider that it's an unsecured loan, And since we're about to sell the house, then we wouldn't actually have anything worth enough value of the loan to put into it, which I'm like, yeah, I know, if we did, we would definitely sell that. So long story short on that, it's actually not short, but long story.
You texted and said, oh, this is it. If this doesn't get approved,
Cullen kept being like, I just don't feel good about this. I was like, I mean, I honestly don't either, but I don't know what else to do. Like, it's worth a try. And then as I left, I had to go. While we were doing this, we were on the phone with the guy. The school called and said that Gaines was in the office and she had a fever. And we're like, goodness gracious. But it was almost pickup time, so they were like, she can just sit here for a little bit longer, we just want to let you know, blah, blah, blah. As I was running out the door, I was thinking, and I texted Cullen, I was like, you know what? This is the way that we can just 100% put it back in God's hands, and it's his decision. If this doesn't get approved, then this wasn't the right thing to do. It was a bad decision, and I'm just gonna trust that he's not gonna let something go through that's not gonna be the best decision for us right now. We just need to know if it's an option or not. On that note, we were like, all right, whatever. Got to school, picked up Gaines. I was like, I don't think she has a fever. She had been outside. Yesterday was the first day. It was like 80 degrees. She had on long pants and boots. And so I think she just got overheated. And so her temperature was like 99. I mean, a fever. It wasn't that high. So we got back home. She got all cooled off and it was back to 98.5 and she was good.
You didn't
Luckily,
act like she was sick? Or
I was like we cannot have another. No, she came in like, hey, what are we doing?
I was like, she ain't got a fever.
No, and she had a little space museum thing at school they've been working on all week. So we went to that last night, had our application thing put in, got in touch with the other people to see if this loan thing works out. Like, is that even an option?
Another showing while the space museum was going on from 6:15 to 7:15.
While I was at Sam's fighting the crowds, if you missed my stories, fighting the crowds with the craziness. Oh, I shouldn't even say that word or this is gonna get demonetized. I'm gonna say I was at Sam's. Just bleep it out. Just bleep it out. I don't need that word in here to get flagged. Cullen had the kids and the dogs in the car after the space museum thing at school while the showing was happening. So we got back home. The application for the personal loan was not accepted. So there's our answer.
Before that though, after we got back home, as we were eating dinner, we got another showing request.
And we already have one scheduled today.
For today. So we got 2 showings back to back today.
Which is good.
Which is great.
For them.
It's very good.
Very thankful for them. It's better than not having any.
It just goes back to the very beginning of this conversation that we're having with this camera right now about just the unpredictability. Like, we sat on the couch and we're like, I don't even want to sit on this couch because we don't know what's about to happen.
Yeah.
Like, is something about to blow up or somebody about to knock on the door? Like, this week has been insane.
It's been a really crazy week. And again, we're not complaining. We're literally it's story time. But sometimes you just gotta tell it. You just gotta let it out. That's the story. The personal loan didn't get approved. Have 2 showings today. It was, you know, honestly, most likely a blessing that it didn't get approved. And it's fine because neither of us really felt super good about it anyway. But now we know.
Yeah, now we know. Bill, and another good silver lining to it is based on the other offers that we've gotten, they're kind of getting higher and higher as far as initial offers, and it's getting closer to spring and stuff like that.
Right, so more people are like putting their house on the market. We also know for sure now what our absolute lowest is that we can go, that we can't accept any lower than that. So any offers we get less than that, instead of having to play the game of like, well, we'll offer this back, we can go back and say, this is it. This is our best. This is it. It's either this or nothing. And then people can decide how much they want to.
I still feel like people think you're playing the game even when you say that.
Right.
Like, but I literally,
I ain't playing.
No.
This is legitimately what we need.
We're not trying to hustle anybody right now.
No, we're not even trying to make a profit, and we're technically losing money because we put a sizable down payment on this house and we're not getting that back. Yeah, that's how our week has gone. And so, you know, these videos have been a little different, and we haven't, I think there was one day that we didn't have one, probably the day that the
leak.
Well, I was gonna say shit hit the fan, but the water hit the floor. So is that.
Yeah, after that I was like, no, we can't do it.
We just can't do a video today.
Can't do a video.
Yeah. And that's actually the day that you folded all my laundry while I took Gaines to gymnastics.
Oh, yeah.
Very sweet. Thank you. So,
it was a good mental de-stressor. Anyway.
That's where we stand right now, in case y'all are wondering.
And we're almost out of toilet paper too, so.
Unintentionally.
So send your thoughts and
not
prayers.
because anybody in this house has virus. That doesn't usually cause the toilet paper to run out.
We got 2 showings coming up, so we gotta go get ready. And I gotta go film a podcast. We'll see you TFS.
Get on the side. Bye.
Bye. Oh, we can actually flip it now.
Oh, how about that?